Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and I can't believe since we've changed over and started this new podcast that we are already at episode 20. I feel like we just started this a few weeks ago. So I have been crazy with recording, but I've had some of the best guests, and I'm sure that you all agree. And please share that with me at info@colleenbiggs.net. That's info@colleenbiggs.net. That's the best way to get in touch with me, and also to ask me about a specific guest that I might have had that maybe you missed a link on, but you'd like to learn more about them. And today you are going to be elated with the guest that I have coming out of Sydney. We have Annie Gibbons with us. She has stayed awake until 1 o'clock in the morning to record this podcast with us. And you are not going to want to miss a second, because we're going to be diving into the benefits of a business incubator. And some of you might say, what is a business incubator? Well, we're going to jump into that in a minute. But first, I would like to thank our sponsor, The Adventures of Julie Jones and Get Shit Done Coaching. Are you an entrepreneur who would like to get more done, be more productive, and more effective in communication without losing your sanity? Julie provides one-to-one coaching workshops, speaking membership, all customized for your specific needs. There is no cookie cutter approach when it comes to you living your best life now. Are you ready to get serious about taking action with your life and your business? Are you ready to move to the next level? Take action now and visit Julie's website at www.juliejones.biz to book a free 30-minute call with her. Well, thank you so much, Julie, for being our sponsor for today. And if you don't know Julie Jones, you're going to want to get to know her. So be sure to pop over to her website. Okay, the benefits of a business incubator. We're diving into that in just a minute here. But first, let me share a little bit about our beautiful guest that we have here today. And as a reminder, we do go live on Facebook. So you can hop over to Leap for Ladies. You can go to my Facebook page at Colleen Biggs. You can go to our podcast channel at Colleen Biggs and be able to see all of our episodes that we've done. Wow, we've done episodes now for 4 years, actually, on our previous podcast, Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up, and all of those amazing guests are there as well. Annie Gibbons, our guest today, is a passionate and purposeful driven fempreneur, a CEO, global women's empowerment coach, a podcast host, speaker, and #1 best-selling author. As the founder of the Women's Business Incubator, Life by Design, and the Women's Business Tribe, Annie is a digital powerhouse helping to push the limits of what is truly possible. Amazingly, she has achieved her success while raising her family of 5, including 2, not 1, ladies and gentlemen, 2 sets of twins born 26 months apart. Annie, we should probably just dive in and talk about that. Everyone wants to know, how the heck did she have 2 sets of twins 26 months apart? Like, how does that even happen to anybody? You have to tell us, were you shocked when the doctor was like, Annie, you're having another set of twins? You're like,
that's right. Exactly. We went to that ultrasound going, wow, I wonder what it's like just having one. And then suddenly like, no, baby number 1 and then baby number 2. And we're like, what? So it was pretty stunning. Actually, Colleen, I've even got a book coming out called Twins, Double Trouble, Double Treat. And it's coming out on the 15th of July this year. So it's been 25 years in the making. And I finally not put pen to paper, put the fingers to the keyboard, and I've written my story. So that's super exciting. So everyone who knows someone with twins or, wants to learn about, that sort of journey, definitely grab my book when it comes out.
I have a friend that has had 2 sets of twins. So her only, children that she gave birth the very first time she got pregnant, twins. We're like, that's crazy. Are you done now? Are you going to keep? She goes, no, I want one more. And then she got pregnant with twins again.
That's
so
what
they were, and both were boy, girl, boy, girl.
Oh, wow. Mine were boy and then boy, girl. So, and then we had one extra girl 5.5 years later, which was super, super gorgeous.
Yeah. So she's the baby of the family, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
for
totally
sure.
the baby of the family.
How fun. What a fun dynamic. I always say, my husband and I combined our families and we have 7 kids. We combined those 15 years ago. Now we have 12 grandkids. We absolutely love our life and all the kids
Yeah.
and how many blessings we have. And it just kind of reminds me we create our own incubators with inside of our homes, don't we? Because it's the environment that they're raised in, it's how they're influenced, it's the decisions that are made, positive and negative. And it's almost like we have our own, mastermind within our family as we sit down for pizza night and we are bouncing ideas off of each other of, should I, leave this career and start this new career? Should I buy a new vehicle? Should, all the questions that kids ask when we're all hanging out together, and we help them solve a lot of problems and, names of their businesses they're starting, all kinds of things. I remember sitting around a campfire once with our kids, and one of my daughters was starting a business, and we just went over a bunch of different names for the start of her business. So talk to us about, let's just dive right in. Why a business incubator? What was the reason for you starting a women's, which, dear to my heart, I run women's communities and work with women, but why a business incubator? What are the benefits that you saw, Annie, from your experience leading up to this?
I think the word incubator, you've tapped into it. Obviously, I'm a woman who's had 2 sets of twins, so it's very pertinent to sort of my brand and what people know me for over, decades. I mean, my twins are now 31 and 29, but it's kind of like, oh my gosh, Annie Gibbons is such a breeder. She grows things. She's got all these kids and that sort of thing. So it was always a bit of a sort of a funny little giggle that, I felt like this incubating woman. And then I agree, you're always incubating means that you're growing things. You're going to birth new beings, new opportunities, new businesses, new anything. And I'm a lover of the new, the opportunity, embracing full potential, and actually just seeing what interests you, how you can grow and extend, and what opportunities there are for you in the world. So when I originally started my coaching business, I actually had my original program, which is called Life by Design, which was more based on, business and life success. And I've still got that program. But then I started the Business Incubator because that's been my lived journey, right? People started coming to me and say, well, Annie, how did you navigate 3 degrees around 5 kids, including 2 sets of twins? How did you become a CEO? You're like, you've done the most least likely journey to then become a CEO 12 years ago and then have my multiple businesses. And so it's suddenly like, oh yeah, I've just got so much learning to give. And then when I started coaching people, I'm realizing they're so different. And I wanted to have a platform that I could then ensure that people would get all of those points of learning, but they could also apply it in their own way. So I wanted to give them template resources, videos, ideas, concepts, link it to my tribe so they get a global support. So that exactly what you do on pizza night, Colleen, that you can say, what do you think about this logo or this logo, this idea or not? What do you think, ladies? And so for me, it was ladies as well, not opening it up to men, which definitely does halve my market. But it's because women just, I think that's my unique gift. I just am so passionate about women being able to grow from a startup business to a scale up to just dominating in business. And then my 3 programs, Startup, Scale Up and Dominate, because that's been my journey. I've actually tailored my whole programs, my incubator, on what would I have loved when I was 16, to then start thinking of a career or going into business, and how would I start up a business? How would I then scale? Would I be successful? Yeah. So I've had this journey of navigating my world just because I've just been curious and trying to push through barriers. And some of that, you'll always have to have your own challenges, right? But you don't have to have all of those unnecessary failures of, wasting money, not sure about how things work, who to trust, those sorts of things. There are step-by-step guides, which now I've actually got in my incubator program. So it's just a delight. I get such joy working with women because they represent, me, you, all these other women who I've met over the years who have just had a dream, right? They've had a dream that they want to have a side hustle or a business or become a corporation, whatever it is that they just want to, see how that could go and get the best out of that. And so that's my joy to help make that happen.
I feel like I'm interviewing myself because we have very similar programs, right? Because there's women at different places. And when you've had the years and years of experience that Annie and I have with working with women and startup businesses and scaling businesses, and as she says, dominating, right? And that's my platinum group that I have, which is, these are women now that are at a place in their life, just like you and I are, Annie, where, we're successful leaders. And now it's about inspiring change in others. It's about building unlimited wealth. It's about leaving a legacy, and really we're at that place now in our lives. And we want to empower other women to do the same.
And when you have those platforms, you can then be the role model, right? We might not have had those role models. I didn't have those role models. I just dared to dream going, oh, wow, wouldn't it be great if I just had someone who was just on that journey ahead of me, somewhere that I could relate to, or just be really honest as well, honest and raw and authentic about the challenges, what their ideas were. So that combination, I think, that you and I both have with our tribes of having that raw authenticity and that collaboration over competition and that support, and so that it is really, we're their cheerleaders and their accountability partners. And I think for us, that's right. That's why I love it. The goal is to dominate in business. It really is. You want to be the default solution to someone's problem in a certain niche, whatever that is around the world. That is a goal, because that's where the unlimited wealth comes from. The opportunities that will help you expand and reach your full potential and leave a legacy and be able to give more, play more, enjoy life more, and help people globally. And I do that through my scholarship programs and other things that I do as well. And so it's so exciting that we are now positioned as those role models, so it is a great honor actually to be in those positions that you can then help other people at those really important stages of their life, because we identify with those stages and we know how hard they are and we know how challenging they are. And with the right support, oh my gosh, people just leap, right? They totally do.
They do.
Leap. Not just crawl, not just survive, just get there and go, oh, there was another hurdle. You actually do start seeing them leaping along through all of their goals. It's super exciting.
Let's talk about, I have a mastermind that I run and talk a lot about masterminds, the benefits of them, all the way back to the book Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. And I had put my mastermind together after rereading that book again, several years ago. And I want to talk about the differences between a business incubator and a mastermind, because there are some differences. What you're talking about as a business incubator is there's a lot of teaching, leading, role modeling going on. Masterminds are different. So will you share with the listeners, because if you are, well, let's just say this plain and simple. If you are a woman right now who is running a business and you are not currently working in a group, a community, or with a coach, someone who is a mentor that's guiding you, you need to really think about the choices you've been making in not having someone there. I mean, I have worked in big corporations where CEOs had mentors and groups that they worked with, like CEO groups that they worked with to bounce ideas off of, to run, these are, hundreds of employees. So I don't want someone to sit there and think, well, I am successful. I don't need a mentor. I don't need a coach. I don't need a group. The answer to that is, yeah, you do. So
everybody needs one.
Everybody does at every level, even presidents of the United States, have people that they're talking to and bouncing ideas off of, and, having those conversations. So, or presidents, or, kings and queens of other countries have people that they're, relying on. So let's talk about the difference between a business incubator, because that's the main subject today, and a mastermind, because they're different.
Yeah. So for me, I can do a mastermind, which is mainly a teaching on something. Here I am, I'm going to do a mastermind on sales. I'm going to do it on marketing. I'm going to do it on, negotiating a new business. I can pick a topic and be an expert in the area, and I can give that teaching on it. You can rewatch that. You can learn from it. But you're not necessarily tailoring it and applying it. It's the application that really takes the learning to that next level. So you can do masterminds on a whole lot of different, unlimited amount of topics, and they're absolutely fantastic, because that's when you get that raw expertise, right? Absolutely love it. And I offer those, weekly throughout my business tribe. With the incubator, you're actually you're going into an online program, or the way mine are designed. So I've got a startup incubator, or the scale up, or the business domination, or the life by design. So I've got 4 incubators. And when you enroll in that, you're there with a group for 6 to 12 months. You never actually get kicked out, because you're always in the tribe. But when you do that, you're then going through, you've got that content. So you've still got versions of like a mastermind for every module. So there's 8 modules each. There's going to be an ebook on every module. There's videos on every module. There's active learnings on every module. There's customizable worksheets that you can then make. And then so you can have all of that teaching. And I've got a Master's of Ed. So I'm very, very proactive in active learning opportunities for adult learners, because then they also come to their learning sessions, which are more like workshops. So it's be like a webinar like now. And it's like, where are you up to with the course? What are your goals? What's your goal for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? What have you learned in the incubator? What are you struggling with at the moment? So you get that application, you get the thinking through, you get to push through the comfort zone barriers, right? Because you get all excited, and then you go, oh my gosh, can't I just jump to marketing and do pretty designs on Canva? And you kind of go, yeah, you could, but you haven't done a business plan yet. You don't actually know who your demographic is, and things like that. So I think the incubator is all about throwing all the aspects out, and there might be, A to Z of what's required for a startup, and then knowing that you've dotted every I, that you've applied it to your own context, chatted, and you feel supported in the incubator tribe, right? Because there's like little mini tribes, and then feeling part of that community so that you can share and grow and celebrate wins, all of those wins. I'm into celebrating often. I mean, you don't just wait till the end to go, woohoo, I launched my business. Oh my gosh, you should be celebrating wins every single week. Even if they're just baby leaps, right? They're just little wins, but everyone is really significant. It could just be a mindset breakthrough, a money mindset breakthrough that you didn't think were worth these rates or charges, or that would anyone pay that, and all those sorts of things. There's so many things. So in the incubator, it really is like this live cocktail of, yes, you have content. Yes, you can learn things from someone else, but it's not just information. It's really application, self-growth. It's a transformation.
Yeah. And that's what happens in an incubator, babies that go in incubators, people in an incubator grow together, right? The object is to grow, and you're in this environment like we've created in our homes, where you have the benefits of all of the people around you, similar to a mastermind, right? Because masterminds are, bouncing ideas off of other people. And in this type of environment, though, it's a led type of incubator, where you're giving them the information. They're held accountable to each other. They're growing. They're celebrating wins. They have a community. So, my philosophy, and always has been my philosophy, is you're the combination of the 5 people you hang around with the most. And your network is your net worth, period. Depending upon, So
it puts you in that pond, that
yeah.
intense pond of everyone doing the same thing. They relate to you. They're there for you. They're not competing against you. So just like you imagine that little baby in the incubator, you've got everything that sustains life, and whatever you need is there. But you're also then personally, you're fussed over, you're attended to, you're nurtured. We're watching, what do you need at this very moment? And things could change for every little baby in an incubator, right? Because of their needs. And so you've got the framework there, but not everyone is the same. So they're all going to go at different rates, different times. They'll need have different needs, different blocks. And so that's what I love, that you can be in this perfect pond, if you like, of what you need, but you can still be 100% tailored to your needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it that other people are doing what you're doing, and there's in that same stage of growth, right? So important. It's very difficult to put a female together that is on, business 3 and business 4, and she's built businesses before, sold businesses. Her acumen is different than someone who's starting their first business. And if they're both in the same incubator, it's a little difficult. The one that's starting up her business is very motivated and learning a lot from the other female. But, when we put everyone together, you can hold some people back. Right. So I love that
100%.
you have the different dominate and the startup
Different
and
stages and different needs. If you're going in the scale up incubator, you're actually going to be looking at different business models, different ways to actually then be able to scale. You can think in a different way, you can talk in a different way than you are when you're just starting out, right? And you're also not going to then be intimidating others. That's one of the most overwhelming thing I find with women, that you go, I really want to do it, but I get overwhelmed easily. I get intimidated by other people. Other people make it sound really easy, or they've got this language I don't even understand what they're talking about. It might be the tech, or it might be the SEO or this, that, whatever. And they're like, I got no idea. So it gives them permission just to be and to go through those steps and develop that confidence. By the time you're a scale up incubator, you're actually, you've been doing business. Your business is around 100K. You've left your day job. You're the real deal now. And you're actually looking at ways to really, develop your funnels and your branding and your marketing and your networks to increase your net worth. You really focus, you don't have to focus on the micro. So it really does allow you to then go, oh yeah, these people get me. And you've got a different type of energy, or re-energizing sometimes into the business.
Fear holds so many people back. And it's that leap that we take, that we just say, screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm taking this leap because I trust in myself, no matter how I land on this, right? I'm going to land on my 2 feet. Or if you're like a cat, you're like, I got 9 lives. I'm invincible. I can do this. It doesn't mean that we know the how, but we just trust that we need to do it. So Annie, share with the listeners a leap that you've taken in your life that you were like, I'm scared to death. This is going to be crazy, but I'm going to do it. And what was the result of that?
I think the biggest leap was, I've had multiple leaps. My entire life has been leaping. So whether you look at it, having all these kids and going back and doing university and the 3 degrees, like that was leaping, because everyone else is like, you're crazy. You don't need to do this, whatever. So yes. And then getting to the top of, actually, I was a nurse originally, and then I became a head teacher of a nursing school. So in everyone else's world, I'd reached the pinnacle. I was like 35 years old, and they're like going, oh my gosh, how did you do that? You did your multiple degrees. Who would have thought you'd actually get there in the end, and so therefore I had the dream job, apparently. And I had a massive moment that I went, but I don't think this is it. What if there's more? Right. And I've always thought that, what if there's more, that I can learn, grow? I've always been curious, and I always have had actually a very entrepreneurial way of looking at things. And so when I thought, well, I've already then just done a Master's of Education, and then I got a job with the Australian Orthopaedic Association, because they were looking for someone to be a senior manager with this master's degree to transform their program. And so when I went for it, everyone went, what are you doing? You're leaving all of your safety and your security, and you're not going to get it, and da 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 da. Well, basically I had to learn at that moment when I did that leap. Like I still had 5 little kids. I had a great income. I had security. And so it was that moment of, but I need to believe in myself even when others don't. You know, I need to really back myself. I think this will be really great for my career. And so when I did that, I suddenly got this job. I got $50,000 more suddenly just overnight in my salary. I then got to work with global partners. It was just such a level up, and I got to work with, suddenly it's like you get to this summit, you think you're at the summit, but it's actually a false summit, because then I suddenly got this new world. And there were just such inspiring surgeons that I was working on, and global projects. And it was so exciting. And from there, it gave me the confidence to then do the next leaps, to get that first CEO role 12 years ago. And then now to have run multi organizations and charities. All of them have been a leap because they've all been at a time that it's really safe and secure when you've got that income and positioning, and everyone knows you're a female CEO, and that's really cool. And so it's easier to then go, okay, well, maybe I should just stay here. But I've realized I'm a change agent, right? So as well as then setting up my own business, doing both for many years, I also had to then realize, well, you know, I am comfortable and I've got something dependable, but what if there's more, or what if I can learn and grow? And it wasn't necessarily just me. I loved the new people, the new worlds. And so I did a lot of that in the corporate sector. And then the biggest leap was actually saying no to that, and then going full time in my business. Oh my gosh. So then it was like, practice what you preach, Annie. You're Miss Incubator lady. You tell them once you get to 100K, you should quit your day job. And I was just juggling everything like some superhuman. And so to actually go, oh my gosh, but that's a lot to give up, because there's a lot of money at stake. There's position, there's title, there's things that I get to speak at conferences in front of, hundreds or thousands of, medicos and things like that. What is it all about? So it required me to really dig deep into who I am, what I value, what do I want to achieve, what's my legacy. And through that actually became the real revelation that, my purpose is actually just to empower women, to share my wisdom, to help them have an easier journey, because I just love it. It's almost not work, right? I just love what I do. So to be able to do what you do and just help people now all around the world, I've got people enrolled in my programs. It's just an absolute joy. But then, the practicalities of, yes, you've got to then really make that your own business. So you have to run it like you would those other roles. So it's as many leaps, but I actually think a couple of, probably two of the biggest ones were to back myself to go and do my degrees, because I believed it would be great later on. So you don't always see the benefit when other people, it's what you do when other people aren't watching, and what you do when everyone else says no, or you're crazy, or you don't get that belief. You've really got to dig, which is why we've both got our tribes, right? Because the tribe then goes, you go, girl. And that's what I absolutely love. I'm like, oh my gosh, surround yourself with these people who believe, but they're not just to believe, because that's just positivity. You want to be equipped, you want to be nurtured, you want to be supported, you want to be enabled, right? So all of those words allow me to then, those two significant leaps were huge in my life, because they expanded my horizons. And then now I actually go, you know what, even when you think you're at the top of your next tree, there's always more. And it's not that you're always chasing and not satisfied. It's actually exciting. It's really, the amount of people I've met around the world in the last couple of years in a pandemic has just blown my mind. And they're just phenomenal human beings doing different things. It's inspiring. It grows me. It therefore grows my tribe, because I share all about it. I have those people on my podcast. It's just so wonderful that you just get this excitement and energy into the future that you want to inherit, right? It drags you forward rather than away. So I think that is just the best place to be in, right? That leaping is scary, but every time you do a leap, and every time you get more confident about doing a bigger and bigger leap. And then suddenly when you're at like our stage of life, you're just like a gazelle. You're like, oh my gosh, like I hope I have something just to leap into, because it's exciting. See, the narrative of the leap changes. You go from fear to, oh, this is going to be scary. What if I fail? What if this is really embarrassing? What if, to suddenly go, oh my gosh, I hope I get super scared and super excited all at the same time, because this is going to be awesome.
Right.
Because even if you fail fast, you fail forward, you do all of that, and then you learn and you grow, and then you then go, right, now this time when I go for the next leap, I'm going to be so ready. And that's where you want to be, because
That's
then
right.
you reach your potential. You
Yeah.
don't say no to opportunities that are right in front of you.
Yeah. And you don't ever know, you thought at that point that was your peak performance, your peak potential. Like you had made it at the top of the summit. So
Yeah.
to make that leap and change what you were doing, we have to know inside that it's what we want. And I rely on that so much. And I've said that to my husband. Why is it that I am not satisfied with the status quo of, just
Yeah.
doing this, every day? And becoming an expert is doing and being comfortable in doing the repetition of things daily. And you start a podcast because you have something to say, and you want to bring on guests that have something to say, so that you can reach a bigger audience, right?
Yeah.
So that you can share your knowledge. This is about sharing what we've learning from others, being in that community, so that everyone can grow. Because I don't know, I don't want to keep it for myself. If I've been coaching for 22 years, there's so many women out there that aren't sure how to grow a business. I want to coach them and assist them to get where they need to be, because I would have given anything to have that type of a mentor and a coach. And I only found a couple along the way. But when I did finally become an entrepreneur, I hired a coach right away. Then I hired a second coach, and they made the difference for me in perspective, in the growth, and what I needed at that time. And I had been coaching for 20 years.
Yeah.
So
because you'll always learn, you'll always grow. And then even if you've been doing something for 20 years, there's new ways of doing it, new experiences. Yeah. You want to have someone who is ahead of your journey. And so it's not just any coach. You actually want to, what did I need? I needed someone, if I was growing a health educationalist, CEO, change management role, I needed someone in that sector and that space, at that time. Now I've done that for 10 years. I might actually, some of my mentors are actually in very different spaces, because I want to challenge my thinking. They might be in the fintech area. They might be, running big manufacturing businesses. I want to know about, drop shipping and how other businesses work, and how volume gets sort of, of product gets sent around the world, because I've got clients who've got that. I want to be as a CEO, always leveling up and going, okay, what can I learn from other people? And so that's what it's about, right up to kings and queens and everybody, presidents. I think everyone should have a mentor, a mentor and a coach. A mentor is different to a coach. And so in the tribe, you get a combination of both. But a coach will tell you, this is the way things work. These are the variety of scenarios, A to Z, and you want to apply it. A mentor is someone that you really connect with, who you want to say, well, what would you do? What would you do in my situation? Coach isn't supposed to say what I do. This is just the way it works, right? Yep. And so it's that nice combination of, I think you need both. I think you need a mentor which can change over time. That's someone that you really just admire, and you want to be more like them, but not them. But you want to pick their brain for their wisdom. And then you want a super great coach who is in your space, but a few leaps ahead, right? And that they've got the cred, they've got the background, because they know your walk. They've done that journey, right? Yes. Now you'll still do it differently, because times change, and technology is changing rapidly. Our spaces are changing, the way we do business. There will be subtleties that even with a coaching program, you go, well, there's a little bit of difference, and that's okay. And you should look for that. But generally you sort of want, I think the tribe, or our sort of programs that we've both got, are the best combination of both, because you kind of get mentored and coached all the time in the collective, which is just brilliant.
Well, Annie, you're brilliant, for one, and I am so happy that you agreed to come onto the podcast today. And like we talked about, Annie Gibbons also has a podcast called Memoirs of Successful Women podcast, and I will actually be on that podcast later today, so those will be coming out around the same time, hopefully. And well, tell people what is the best way for them to reach out to you. We have all your links listed, and I definitely recommend that you go over and subscribe to her podcast so you can hear some of her guests, what she has to say on a regular basis, and learn. It's a good way to get information and learn, and kind of get your curious mind going on what are the next steps for you and where do you want to grow. So Annie, tell us the best place for people to connect with you.
I think the best place is probably womensbizincubator.com. If you go to womensbizincubator.com, you'll see my 4 programs. It'll also have a link to the tribe and a link to my main sort of profile page, but that will give you an idea, because we've been talking about incubators today. It actually talks through, shows you what is on offer there. It'll also show you how to contact me through all of my social platforms. Obviously, I'm going to be very strong on LinkedIn, so you can find me there just on Annie Gibbons, or you can just email me, annie@anniegibbons.com, and I will definitely personally reply to you. So if you're interested in, having an opportunity to even, be on a podcast, be in book collaborations, go into an incubator, then definitely just reach out. A lot of it is just actually that sort of time to connect and go, well, what are your needs at the moment, and how can I help you? So it's very non-threatening. It's just about, opportunities to serve, right, women globally. And I think there's just an abundance of opportunity for women listening in and thinking about, taking those big, bold leaps. Now is the time. It is an incredible time to become an entrepreneur, to really, push yourself. The environment, because of the pandemic, has changed so much. We're already uncomfortable. We've already gone through that challenge. So now's the time to actually say, you know what, maybe it's time that I incubate something, get those ideas growing. You can even join without even an idea. You just have to have the intent. And then you can even start with, well, what is a good idea for a business? Sometimes people don't have that. So pop along to womensbizincubator.com, and I will look forward to contacting you there.
Thank you, Annie, so much. And I definitely recommend that all of you do that. Get into Annie's community, learn more about her. She is fabulous. I have loved every second that I have been able to align myself with Annie. We're planning on aligning ourselves more because of such similarities that we have in how we help women. And I always love leveraging relationships with other women that are as passionate as I am. And I know many of you out there have great ideas or already running businesses, maybe even have some ideas for another business that you want to start. This is a great opportunity for you to connect with her. So make sure you go out to womensbizincubator.com, check out Annie. And of course, we have her LinkedIn information, Twitter, Instagram. You can start following her on some social media pages. So Annie, thank you so much for being with us today, sharing your wisdom, and really being vulnerable on, where your life led you, and those times where you didn't know how it was going to work out, but you just knew inside your gut that it was the right thing to do. So, so props to you on that, Annie, and thank you for sharing that wisdom with us today. And ladies, I just want you to remember, as we close for today, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. So how you navigate your future, whether you decide to start before you're ready, start a business, climb the ladder of corporate America, go for that next position you've always wanted, whatever it is, the benefits of community and incubators are exemplary. So I highly recommend that you do not wait any longer for someone else's permission to tell you it's okay for you to take that next step and do what it is that you desire to do. You already know it's inside of you. And I know there may be some story around why you should or should not do that. But my hope and wish for you today, and words of encouragement, are to take that step. Start before you're ready. So ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. Annie, thank you for being with us. And until next time, ladies, be you and be strong. We'll see you then. Bye-bye for now.